Hey everybody, it's hwsteele, and this is the second video in the 5-swing pitchfork video series, and it's probably the last one I'm going to be doing. In this one I'm going to talk about how to draw in the sub-forks, okay? And then, get this, I'm going to try and convince you not to use them. So, actually, not so much convince you as just explain why I don't use this methodology anymore. So this is GM like I used in the previous example. This is actually, let me draw in the very first 5-swing pitchfork that I gave as an example right here. And obviously it follows the market very well. There's a leftover 5 that I didn't delete right there. But anyway, this is how you draw a sub-fork. Okay, we have the main 5-swing pitchfork put in after we follow all the rules that I gave in the other video. Then to draw a sub-fork, you simply click at the same starting point and then one extreme of the fork and then to the middle, and there's your sub fork. And I'm going to change the color of this fork so we can see it better. Bright red should work. And we see that it did a decent job right here. Obviously this is in hindsight because our 5-swing fork was not drawn until after this point. But we can go ahead and draw in the second sub pitchfork. From this point to this point, and I'm going to make this one red also so it's easier to see. And there we go, and we see that this line right here caught this low here fairly decently, and then this provided resistance up there decently, and then it looks over here, we spiked above the original 5-swing pitchfork right here, but we caught it pretty easily with this sub fork right here, and then this move up here, this is where we're at currently in the price of GM. The 5-swing pitchfork sub fork caught that. Now, as cool as this is, let's be honest here. If I draw in the 50%, the sub channel like is normally drawn in, this does just as good a job catching the market right there, right? I mean, probably caught it as just as many points. The top's right there. It's provided support right there, and it broke out. So the question is, why would you want to use a sub-fork versus this division right here? And the only real good answer to that is that when the price leaves the original fork right here, it kind of tends to respect these sub-forks fairly decently for a while. Okay, so that is the sub-fork application. That's all there is to it. It's nothing hard. But there is a couple things I wanted to point out to you. This is the point where I try and convince you to think about whether or not you actually want to use this. These rules, they're good to help you draw the big, nice 5-swing fork. But the whole reason I came up with the sub-forks in the first place is because following these rules, a lot of times you draw really big pitchforks. And there are times where the pitchfork does not work out very well at all. Like, let's say we're starting at this low right here, okay? Here's a low, so that's 0.1. This is 0.2 right over here. And then 0.3 is right down here. And 0.3 is past 0.1. So 0.4, which is right here, does not have to be past 0.2 as per our rules. So this would be 0.4 and this would be 0.5. So that 5-swing pitchfork right there, what does it do for us? Nothing. It does very little for us. It catches the market right here once and that's it. So that's kind of not a very good pitchfork, right? I mean, no, it's not. Even if we draw in a sub-fork here, it's not going to really do much for us. Snapping to here. So it's not perfect. But that doesn't do much of anything for us also. So you can see that in this particular case, the rules for the 5-swing pitchfork did nothing for us. So I want you to think about that for a second. It looks good at first, especially when you find an example like I showed you the first example, but you can't really just start it anywhere in any market. Like General Motors here, you really need to start it from a more important top or bottom to get a decent fork. And like a 4-hour chart on the Euro US dollar, something like that, then you could probably start it more freely from any top or bottom and get decent results. And that's what I actually developed the 5-swing pitchfork in, was the Forex market for the Euro US dollar. I traded that, and then the Great British Pound US dollar, the cable. So that's something you need to keep in mind. That doesn't mean you can't adjust the rules per market and have them have a specific rule set for each individual market or type of market, but it becomes more and more cumbersome to have a bunch of different rules for the same tool just to use them in different markets. And eventually those reasons right there are what led me to stop using the 5-swing pitchfork, because I like to simplify as much as possible, and having to have different rule sets for the same tool in different markets was not the way that I wanted to do that. So the 5-swing pitchfork, it helped me out through a certain phase that I was going through at that point in time by giving me rules to draw my pitchfork, and it improved the way that I drew the pitchfork, but it wasn't the final evolution of how I use pitchforks. I've developed other methods, a lot of them since then, and a few of them I still use. I've done a few videos on those, not all of them, but some of the methods